Hi there, Mr. Biggers here, and today we're going to get more practice using formulas and solving equations for given variables. So just to recap, a formula is an equation that expresses a relationship between certain quantities. A formula or equation that involves more than one variable is called a literal equation. So we are actually going to be learning how to solve literal equations today. So you are going to have an assignment on Alex to go along with these problems. So at any point, if you're confused on the Alex portion of the assignment, please come back to the video and make sure you rewind, rewatch, and just go through and complete the problems, okay? So here, we are going to jump into number 1, where they want us to solve for the variable a. So I'm going to start this just how I would any other equation when I'm solving for a. And I'm going to think, I'm looking at this side of the equation that the a is on, and I'm like, what do I need to get rid of? So in my head, I'm thinking I definitely have to add a b, and I definitely am going to have to add a 12 at some point. So let's do one thing at a time. If I add b to the left side, I also have to add b to the right side. So since p and b are not like terms, we can just add them together like this. We'll have p plus b, okay? Now b minus b, those are going to cancel out because they're opposites. So then this side is left as a minus 12 equals p plus b. So the next thing we have to do is add 12 to both sides. Okay, so once we do that, minus 12 and positive 12 are opposites, so they're going to cancel out. And I'm left with a is equal to p plus b plus 12. Now, why did nothing happen on this side? Well, they are not like terms. So cannot combine because they are not like terms. Okay, so that's why that side is a whole bunch of letters and numbers. They cannot combine for like terms. But at the end of the problem, what you need to ask yourself is, did you solve for a? And if you did, then you're good. So that's your answer. Okay? So moving on to number 2, we need to solve for x. So I'm going to circle x because I know that's what I need to get by itself. So I'm looking at the side that x is on, and I know that I'm going to have to get rid of a y. So I'm going to subtract y from both sides, and then I have a minus y equals x plus z. Okay, and then from here, we have to subtract z to get x by itself. So your final answer is going to be a minus y and then minus z because they cannot combine. They're not like terms. And then we're equal to x. Okay, so that is your answer for 2. All right, so moving on to number 3 now. So we're going to solve for z. So I'm going to draw my line. Once again, I'm solving for z, so I'm going to circle it, and we need to get rid of everything else on that side. So what we need to do first is let's go ahead and add the y over to both sides. So take it one step at a time. A plus y, they cannot combine, so it's just a plus y. And then we are left with, these are going to cancel. The z is going to come down, and we have the 3. So we are going to have a plus in between them because they're adding together because they're on the same side. And we know we're still solving for z. So to get rid of the 3, we got to subtract it from both sides. These are opposites of each other, so they're going to cancel out. Z is going to come down again because that is what we are solving for. And then we're going to be left with a plus y minus 3. None of those are like terms, so they cannot combine. Okay, so that is number 3. Now we're going to go on to number 4. We're solving for z here. So what we need to do is we need to get rid of everything else. So we need to add y to get rid of y. So we have a plus y equals x plus z, because those canceled. And then we know we are still solving for z, so we are going to subtract x, and we get z is equal to a plus y minus x. That's your answer for number 4. Okay, moving on here to number 5, we're going to solve for s. So I'm going to draw my line. We are solving for s, so we are going to subtract a q from both sides to get rid of that guy. Once we get rid of that guy, I know this is going to be p minus q equals, the s is going to come down, the 5 is still there, we didn't do anything with it, and then we have to subtract 5 from both sides to solve for s. And so then I get s is equal to p minus q minus 5. That would be your answer for that one. Once again, since there are no like terms on this side, I cannot combine no like terms. Remember, we're playing like the matching game. When we don't have terms that match, we cannot combine them, so we just write them together like that. Okay, so we solve for s. Now we're going to go to number 6, where we're going to solve for x. Now, in this one, we actually have multiplication going on. So we have mx equals 5. So if we want to solve for x, we got to think about, how do we get rid of that m? So if I wrote you a similar problem, so here's a similar example. Okay, if that m was let's say this was 2x equals 5. Now, to get rid of that 2 in front of the x, you would divide both sides by 2. Those would cancel, and you'd get x equals 5 halves. Now, we don't necessarily have a 2. So, we have an m. So, what do we need to do? We're going to do exactly the same thing, and we are going to divide both sides by m instead of a 2, because we have an m there. Okay, m over m, those are opposites, so they're going to cancel out. And I'm left with x is equal to 5 over m. Okay, so that is going to be your answer. There's nothing more you can simplify here, so you are good to go. That is your answer. Okay, moving on to 7. They want us to solve for e. Now, to solve for e, we need to get rid of this ugly fraction, the ugly bottom of the fraction. Now, if I have numbers or letters on the bottom of a fraction, to get rid of them, we have to multiply by them. Okay? Now, I know these m and the g's are both multiplying, so I need to multiply by the same exact thing. So if I multiply by mg on the left side of my fraction or equation, I have to multiply the other side also by mg. Okay? So these are going to cancel out, and we are left with e, and e is equal to mg times h, which if you want to get rid of the times dot, it is the same thing as writing mgh. Okay, that is your answer for number 7. Okay, moving on from there, we need to solve for capital letter B. So we're going to draw our line to separate our equation. The first thing we need to do before I can touch this 5, I've got to get rid of this. To get rid of the 11c, we are going to subtract 11c from both sides. Okay, these are going to cancel out, and a minus 11c is what is left over there. Why is it like that? Once again, a and c are not like terms. So they cannot be combined. So our final answer, the 5b comes down. Once again, we are solving for b, which means I need to get rid of that 5 in front of it. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to have to divide everything here by 5. So if I divide this by 5, I've got to divide this by 5, but don't forget you also have to divide this by 5. Okay, so if you do that, you're going to get the answer of B is A over 5 minus 11C over 5. You could also write that B is equal to A minus 11C all over 5. Either one of those answers is correct. So pause the video at any point to get the notes copied down and use those to help you with the ALEKS assignment. Please make sure that you write all of your work in each of those boxes so that way if we have a work check,